I'm so happy to be here.
I'm so happy you're
sweatshirt.
I want this sweatshirt.
Is it weird that I already had it in my closet? Like I didn't buy this for the show. Like this was already.
I
this
thought
was
you
like
bought it
already,
special for us.
Oh
Of
no, this
course
was
you already
already
had it.
this was already in my closet. I bought it in New York from a street fair.
Oh my God, really?
Yeah.
This is, I need this. I need this in my life. We need now that we're recording, we need the other guests to make an appearance. Hello. Oh my goodness. Hi. What are
They're not normally allowed on that chair, so they're very happy to be there.
Oh my God. Dogs love these chairs, Marnie.
Yeah.
So Marnie and I just discovered that we have the same, for everybody listening right now, the same exact chairs in different colors. And dogs are obsessed with these chairs. I think because they're low and easy and they just look like big beds. Okay. So wait,
Yeah, they're big beds.
We need names.
Oh yeah. Okay. So introductions. This is Bourbon. This is a little dude. Yeah, that's Bourbon.
Yeah.
He is 10. He's 10. We think, about. And then this is Whiskey, and Whiskey's 13.
Oh,
and
baby.
Yeah, Whiskey's had a few issues the last few months. The 13 part has suddenly crept up on her. She went from being like, no one could believe she wasn't a puppy to like, oh, she's definitely 13.
Okay. All right. I want all the details. Well, all right. First, Marnie, thank you for doing me time / pet time. I'm so
really
excited.
Exciting thing that you're doing this. I think it's really fun.
Thank you. But I also love you cover both. I also have been talking a lot about how so much of our me time is our pet time, like having that quiet time. They force us to go on walks. They make us sit with them, be quiet. Peanut used to swap my phone out of my hand. So there's also like a real tie into to me time, but also like what you do. So Marnie what would you say your title? I don't want to mess that up because I feel like,
oh no, you know what? This sort of already goes to show. I have always a challenge with the title. Basically, I founded a fitness company that began as a studio and then merged or transformed into an online studio solely. So it used to be a brick and mortar, and now it's online. So it at its base, it's a workout platform, but it really does integrate wellness on multiple levels. We just kind of package it in a way that's fun and high energy and filled with great tunes. So yeah.
And you just led a retreat in Italy that I must do next year.
Well, I think we're doing it again there.
You're doing it.
So like, I'm going to hold it to you.
Okay. Yeah. I'm coming. I'm in.
It was really special. It was really magical. And it was my first retreat. So that was a little bit, like it was nerve-wracking a little bit. You're asking 20 people to spend a lot of time and money to go to a faraway land, and they kind of put their trust in you. And I took that responsibility really seriously. And I was really grateful that it turned out the way that it did.
I was getting updates the whole time. Marnie and I share a friend, Shara, who actually introduced us. And then we bonded on a night that will, I think, go down as one of the greatest nights of our lives.
I think so. Yeah. I think it mimight be the greatest night of our lives.
At least one of them. Like it will live in the books of like,
yes,
this was, and those of you who also experienced this, and even if you haven't, you at least can feel the energy of it. We got to see the Taylor Swift Eras tour together in a last minute, like we sort of knew of each other, but hadn't really met. And then here we go, have this night that I feel like as bond, like the root really set in. Like we have now been bonded. We also discovered this night, and we'll get to dogs in a minute, our love of that. But so we were brought together by our friend Shara. We share this insanely magical, it's hard to put into words level night.
Yeah, it was real. You know what it is? I've been hearing these words a lot lately, is core memories. And I feel like when you meet someone in a moment where one of your core memories is created, how can you not just forever be bonded to that person? And especially if you're both having a core memory, which we definitely did.
Oh my God. Oh, I love that.
How do you not like forever live in each other's souls, like in your core?
We do. We have. Yeah. And you also just created that in Italy. So you know what? We might even just like have to have another me time where we actually talk about that experience and sort of how all of that came to be for you as well. Because Marnie, I feel like crosses everything from the pet to the me time to the wellness to she's just a beautiful person. And so you're going to come back. Though today's focus is pet time.
It's pet time.
Yes.
I'm gonna make this guy hang out with me because he's easier to make hang out. The other one has decided that, so she has an obsession with the sunshine. And so she just saw the sun peek onto the front porch, and so she hopped up, and we'll be really lucky if we don't get a lot of whining soon that she wants to be out as soon as she sees the patch of sun creep. It's the simple things, baby. The simple things.
I love that so much that she's so like bonded with the sun. She has to go. So Marnie, I feel like we both have this look, you know, for me in my life, who I am, lessons I've learned, things I've gone through, all the healing, all of that. My pets have been such an instrumental, like part of that, which is one of the things one of the reasons why I'm sort of doing this like pet pivot. And so I love to hear like origin stories, whether it's whiskey and bourbon or just how pets sort of impacted and like burst open your heart in your life, because that's what they do. And so, but obviously I want whiskey and bourbon stories, but also your history and like what your experience has been and all of that too. So start at the beginning.
My gosh.
Or start with whiskey, wherever you kind of want to start. But I want all these stories because I know these are your like heart babies. Like you're like,
yeah, they really are.
Yeah,
they really are. It's really cool. And I didn't think I was going to be that. I did not think I was going to be the girl with 2 dogs and a dog sweatshirt. I did not think that. In fact, no, I mean, I grew up with family dogs, as a lot of us did, right? But, you know, we lived in kind of a rural area and we loved our dogs deeply, but they were dogs and we didn't have a ton of cash. So it wasn't like, you know, pet insurance and things like that. So we're lucky. Our dogs were good, but it was like, if a dog got sick, that was going to kind of be the end of that. That's a horrifying thing to say, but that's kind of how I grew up, right?
That's the truth for a lot of people. Yeah.
And I never had to go through that, thank goodness. But that being said, that was my philosophy. And so as an adult, I left home really early, and I like, you know, again, like a lot of us, I had so many jobs and I had so much responsibility. And so having a pet just kind of wasn't part of the game for a long time. And then I moved away to England, which we talked about. And then I came back. And one of the main things that I knew when I came back was that I definitely wanted to have a dog. It sounds so crazy, but it was like a calling. Like I was convinced. I spent probably a year watching every Cesar Millan episode because that was the only thing on television that had the focus of that. I know we've learned a lot since, but like that, I watched everyone because I was, very committed to being responsible. I for sure thought I was going to get like a traumatized, pit bull bait dog. That was what I was going to do.
Because that's what we're drawn to. We're like, oh, I want to help. I want to help heal. And go on.
Right. I didn't think I wanted like a little sweet, fluffy dog. I wanted, I wanted to be able to put the time and energy in. So it was really important to me. I just knew that was part of what I wanted to do. And so because we moved away, we came back, and in Los Angeles, it's not easy to get an apartment that is affordable and that you can have animals in. Certainly I learned that you can't have certain breeds of dogs because and that kind of really pissed me off. I don't know if we can say that on your show.
Yes, you can.
Okay.
We keep it real here.
Okay. Yeah. So it pissed me off and it made me want one even more. And so basically it was like looking for a dog simultaneously at the same time and going to different fosters and different shelters and doing things like that. And I met a few dogs, but I feel like a pet or an animal is like a friend or it's like a lover. It's a special, for me anyway, it was like a special bond. Like,
yeah, they're loved ones.
And you kind of like know, so I'd met a couple of dogs, and for various reasons, it didn't work out. And then I saw Whiskey, and she'd had some trauma in her life. So she had, like, the people who were taking care of her at the time, she had bit one of them. She was young and she had a pretty rough first year.
Right.
And so we knew that was going to be part of the situation. And so we showed up at a Petco, and Mexico, and the person who was fostering her brought her in, and it was like very there was a lot of sensation. She doesn't like a lot of energy, and there
Chaotic.
was a
Yeah.
lot of chaos going
Yeah.
on. And so she walked in so scared and so sweet and so fuzzy, and
It's so
and
funny.
she was so fuzzy and little and like skinny and scared, and she walked in and she saw me and she just pissed herself, and then I started bawling, and the husband
Marnie,
looks at
oh
me and
my
he's like,
God.
I guess we have our dog. And I was like, she's ours. And we brought her home that day because I just knew it. I just knew it. And even like the challenges started on the way to the car. Like on the way to the car, she found a way to like Houdini out of her little harness.
Right,
You know,
right,
we got her
right,
really fast. She didn't get far, but like she,
right,
you know, she was dealing with her own stuff.
right.
And we learned a lot about I learned a lot about myself through her.
Oh,
I
yeah.
grew a lot through her,
She
for sure.
challenged you. Like she
Mm-hmm.
was, like your talk about that.
Well, I heard once that you don't get the the pet that you want. You get the pet that you need. And
Yeah. Yep.
I think there is a type of like co-selecting that occurs.
Yeah.
Which I definitely felt with the like bawling pissing moment. So like I was like, yeah,
I love it.
I
You're like,
caught.
she pissed herself, and that's what I knew. I knew. But I totally know what you mean, because you do know. I also feel like they, in a lot of ways, and I think they pick us. They find us.
Yeah.
You're the souls find you anyway. So yeah, I totally relate to that co-selecting thing, that I think, like, I'll tell people, they're like, wow, I can't find my dog, or this one didn't work out. And I don't like putting a lot of shame around. I feel like people do put a lot of shame on like people who have to rehome a dog, or
Sure.
that when it's not for you or whatever, when really it's like we're trying to find the coexisting, like the good for both parties,
Yes.
for the dog as well. And so it's like sometimes there's just a different there's just a better place. But we know, it's a knowing that we always, I feel like, have, when it's like, this is my dog. Like, I know
Yeah.
this is my dog. And she
Yeah.
found you. She was with another family
Yes. Yes.
and was like, let them know, like, hey, this is not how this is supposed to
Yes.
go.
Yes.
Oh my
Absolutely.
God. How long ago was
Absolutely.
this?
So she was about one when we got her. She was originally a dumpster baby, and then she had a bunch of trauma, and then another
Oh
family
my
took her
God.
in, and she's starting to whine now because she can see the sun.
I
So
feel the same way. I can get like that too. I'm like,
it
oh
started.
my God.
It
Yeah.
started. She's watching it like crest over the thing.
Oh,
Um, so yeah, so she, you know, she had that for about a year. So that would have been 12 years ago,
oh
around 12
my,
years ago. Yeah.
wow.
And she's been such a like a fascinating, she's been such a challenging and fascinating journey. I mean, within the first week, she did lash out at me. She had some aggression issues. She ate like 4 raisins, and I had to max out my credit card because I was afraid she was going to die. That's when I got
Right.
pet insurance.
Oh, right.
I also realized at that moment, because we'd had sort of this discussion, like we'd both come from these more, I don't know, like old school kind of rural backgrounds. Like dogs are dogs. You don't spend $10,000 on a dog because you need
Right.
$10,000 for your kids. You don't,
Right.
like that's not, that's not a
Right.
thing that people did. And
Right.
so we'd kind of had this like hypothetical discussion about like, well, what would be such a horrifying thing to talk about, but we did like, what would be the limit, the financial limit to commit to the animal, right?
Right.
And we were in our 20s. Like, it's not like you don't have a ton of cash to throw around or
No,
whatever.
it's real. That's real.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so we had this discussion, and then she ate those 4 raisins, and I was like, nope, that's that's not. I will literally set, like, I was like, that's not. I'll get
That's
another
out the window.
job.
Yeah.
Like, I don't care
Yeah.
whatever it ever
Oh
costs.
my God, Marnie, that's
Um,
great.
yeah. So and then we got like, we did the full thing, like the dog psychologist. We did that for a sec to try to help her.
Wait, I've
Um,
never done that. What is that? Like, what is that
yeah,
like?
It was
I,
interesting. So it wasn't a trainer, right? Because she was very smart. She learned basic commands and stuff like that. That was fine.
sure.
But she would sometimes glaze over. So she still had aggression issues, and we could just tell like she was anxious and she wasn't comfortable in her skin. And we didn't we the tools we were using wasn't working. And this is why I say dogs can really teach you. You know, you have this feedback system, and you don't get to force what your vision is on the dog, because the dog is another living creature with its own opinions and
100%.
emotions. And if you try to force it, that dog is gonna fight back.
Right.
And I think there's lessons in that for a lot of things.
That is
um
such a good point, by the way. It's a getting to know each other. I feel like if you take the time, you develop and learn to develop your own language, but you have to
yeah,
understand theirs. Like you
yeah,
said,
you
it's
do.
not a forcing of here's how you're going to fit into my life. It's like, no, 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 no. Here's how this is going to work for me. No, no, no. It's like, I mean, obviously they need their boundaries, and you establish all of that, but they are their own, as you said, they're their own beings with their
Yeah, and
own
I think you get,
personalities.
yeah. And if we go back to what we said about if we are choosing each other, then there's this great opportunity. There's lessons to be learned if you can surrender to that and get out of your own way around it. So that was kind of humbling to go like, I don't know how to, it's a dog. Why
Mm.
don't I know how to fix? I watched every Caesar episode. Why don't I know how to?
You're like, I know everything. I took the master class on dog training with Caesar Milan, by watching his TV show. How is it that this being, I don't get it. Oh my God.
How come I can't
I
make
love
it
that.
perfect? How come I can't
Yeah.
make my storybook dog? So yes,
Oh,
I did some research and found a cool. His name is Matt Beisner.
I
He's
love Matt Beisner. I follow
You know
him
Matt
on
Beisner?
Instagram.
Oh
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Oh my God, I should have him on. I love him
Yeah, you
so much.
definitely should.
Oh
You
my God, I
definitely should.
love the way he talks about dogs and relationship. I was actually like, I started following him when I was in my grief of like Peanut after she passed, because he has such beautiful takes on dog human relationship. Anyway, go on. But we love Matt
Yeah, Matt
Beisner. We
Beisner is
love you.
great.
Yeah, yeah,
He's fabulous. He's exploded now, but when we first were working with
yeah.
him, his company was quite small. We used to actually house sit for him.
Oh
Um,
my God.
yeah, when him and Brooklyn would go out of town because they had all their dog. They had like 6 dogs, and
Right.
so yes, so we would. And he was great with Whisk. It was really wonderful. But I remember really distinctly. So we had this one exercise that we had to do to begin with, and I can't remember. I think it was called like lockdown or something. And basically, it was that she was only allowed to go outside, like she couldn't have toys. We basically took away every stimuli from her, right?
Okay.
Which was also again a challenge for me, because I just want to live with my dog and I want to play with my dog and I want to, it's my fun toy I got, or that's a toy,
Right.
you know what I mean? But it's like we
Right.
can get into that mode.
Right.
And she didn't need that. She needed this whole other thing, which I'm a high energy, like I think about something, I want to accomplish it, I accomplish it moving on. And she needed patience. She needed a different
Mm.
take. And so I remember there was this thing where she was only allowed, I think it was 2 weeks or something like that, 2 or 3 weeks. She was only allowed to go outside to go to the bathroom. And then she had to come back in, and then it was reducing stimuli.
Oh,
But
interesting.
and there was a very specific way she had to we put on her leash and she had to stop and sit. We didn't have to tell her to sit. She didn't necessarily have to sit, but she had to be calm and make eye contact with us. And as soon as she made eye contact with us and stayed emotionally connected, then we could walk. And the moment that she dissociated
Uh-huh.
or
Uh-huh.
tuned out, we had to stop and we'd do the exercise where she made eye contact. She chose to make eye contact. You couldn't pull her. You couldn't give her a command. You just had to stand there staring at her basically
Mm-hmm.
until she made eye contact. Then we could walk a few more steps. Well, we lived in the second story, so we had to walk down a set of stairs and then down the little, like one of those Spanish apartments, and then down the little
Oh
walkway to
yeah.
this, to the sidewalk area where she would,
Yeah.
yeah, wherever she would go to that. One night, one of the first nights, it was a 2.5 hour walk from my doorway down one flight of stairs to the patch of grass at the end. And it was like one of the only rainy nights in Los Angeles as well.
Of
So
course.
that was super fun.
Mhm.
But that was a wild moment for both of us. We actually bonded deeply over that, But
Yeah.
for me too, like I found myself getting mad and frustrated at her, at
Right.
myself, at this whole stupid situation.
Right.
Um, Everything about it. I'm not exaggerating when I say 2.5 hours of
I
stopping
believe
and
you.
staring at this dog, just waiting for her to make eye contact. And she was such a, like, she's such a fabulously stubborn girl. Like, she knew
Sure.
exactly what she had to do. She
Right.
would do every energy in the world not to catch my eyes. It
Right.
was crazy.
Right.
It
Right.
was
Eh,
crazy.
but you, it also took you, I feel like, to like, you found each other, you had the patience, you understood, and you did what she needed, even though
Right.
it was raining and it was what, like, you were like, let's get this over with. Let's go back and, like, it's whatever. And you stayed 2.5 hours. That is like, this is such a sweet story, because I feel like, as hard as that is, it says so much about you, and it says so much about your your dynamic, I feel like, with her and getting to know her. And also it worked. Like,
It
you
did
put in a
ultimately
little
work. Yeah.
time. Like, look
Yeah.
at the Game of Thrones thing that you posted yesterday, Marnie. This is one of the greatest things we need that picture, I feel like, for the socials, to put the music, just so I can share, like,
I think so
when,
too. I'll share it with
just
you.
because it was so good. So you and whiskey, so was that like a turning point
Yeah.
for,
And she began to slowly but surely heal, and she has no aggression. And Emma, she's also different now as a senior dog, but her
sure.
aggression was eventually removed, and it took way longer than I would have hoped, but it happened. And yeah, it's been like a super learning journey with her,
I love this story.
I feel so grateful. And now
Yeah.
the other thing is she's like a little athlete, right? So we used to walk forever and ever and ever. That was kind of our thing. I hated to leave the house without the dog. I truly became that person. Like, I would only eat on patios, and I would.
Miss, like, I'm never going to be the one that wears the dog sweatshirt. She was like,
Thanks.
literally
I'm
like,
publicly wearing a dog sweatshirt. I'm only like, yeah, it was a wild thing to go like, oh shit, I'm that girl. Like, that's it.
yeah,
I am.
you're
I am.
that girl. You're that
I'm that
girl. Own
girl.
it. Own
Yeah,
it. It's so good. Wait,
I do really love it.
so that's whiskey. So
Yeah, the Swift.
whiskey's, and then bourbon is, when did bourbon? How did bourbon? I love that their names are
I mean,
whiskey and
for God's
bourbon.
sakes.
Stop it right now. Oh, look at bourbon over there. Like, I want my son.
Oh yeah,
Give me my
Whisk back there.
sunshine.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, I love it. I absolutely love it. Okay, so all right. So bourbon story.
So we had her for a couple of years, and then I started. It was like just that thing where I started feeling like there was another pup out there, and I would come home, and to unwind, I would go on Pet Finder. I think I justified it where I was like, she needs a friend or something, but like,
That's like, oh my God, I
I
hear this
mean,
story so much. It's so good. It's like they need a friend. It's that.
yeah,
It's them. Yeah, go on.
definitely for her.
Yeah.
So I became my nightly pet finder person, and I saw this little dude. He was at a rescue which no longer exists. There were some issues with it, but it was
Hmm.
called Barks and Bitches. Do you remember that
Oh, I
place?
do remember Barks and
Yeah,
Bitches.
on Fairfax.
Whoa. Yes, of course.
Yeah.
It was
Um
pretty well known, I feel like, for a while.
yeah, it was good. I think there was some issues that occurred there, and I mean, I don't know the ins and outs of it, but they're not there anymore.
Okay.
But at the time, I thought that was a great concept. I loved that the dogs could socialize with each other and all that kind of fun stuff, and people and stuff. So he was there. He was a litter that was found in a warehouse downtown.
Oh,
Um,
wow.
and so he ended up there. So he was a little puppy. He was like a brand new puppy with all of his whatever mates, his little siblings. And I'd seen him, and there had been a discussion within our household that like it just wasn't a good idea to have another dog. More responsibility, more financial responsibility, more time, all this stuff. Despite that conversation, I was still at Pet Finder every night. And so I saw this little dude, and I knew that he was available, and I wanted to go see him. And I couldn't stop thinking about him. I just knew it. Of all the cute dogs, for some reason, he was just like the one.
The one.
So
Yeah.
yeah, there was like a pub, like a little restaurant across the street. So I talked a few friends into going for like a brunch, and I knew it was across the street. This is for real. I orchestrated this whole
Crazy. And
situation.
I love the, as you said, the elaborate like plan. It's so good. Keep going. I love this.
Truly elaborate. And did I
Yeah.
pick some of my most dog loving friends? Of course I did.
Of course
All
you
on
did.
purpose.
Oh my
So
God. I
then,
love it.
so then after like, a couple mimosas and some brunch, I went, oh, you guys, I forgot Barks and Bridges is
I
across the
forgot.
street. We should go play with the dogs. Everyone's like, of course we should go play with the dogs.
Oh my God, Marnie.
Walked across the street. Whisk actually wasn't with us. Walked across the street, walked in, and then if you know the place, like there's, I don't know, 20 dogs there,
Right.
20 more,
Right.
sometimes more, depending if there's
Right.
like litters of puppies. So there was a whole bunch of dogs that rolled through, and I was just like, like I was looking for him, and I laid my eyes on him, and that was kind of it. I'll show you that picture too. Actually, I'll send that to you. The one where I first met him, and then I brought Whisk back the next day to do a check to see if they would get along, right? Just to make sure that was going to be okay. And that was it. That was the end of it. And he is the opposite. He was like, he's like the joy. He's just the easiest, happiest little dude you ever met.
That's so funny. I often just find the second dog is like, they've got the first dog to just sort of follow. It's like, oh, they go outside, they go to the bathroom. Oh, they do this. Okay, they do that. And then it's just like a routine that they fall into a little bit easier than it is with the first dog usually. I love that we're
That's
like
an interesting point.
Yeah. There's just, they've got like a model. They've got like an example of like, oh, this is how life is in this house. Okay, cool. Got it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I bet your anxiety as a person too, because dogs are definitely, they're definitely like, they feed off energy. That's how they function, right? They don't use language, they use energy. And so if you're less anxious or you're less nervous, the dog's going to be less anxious or less nervous. Right. And when you get your first grown-up dog, it is kind of a little bit nerve-wracking because it's your first experience of having a creature that's solely dependent on you, and that you are, you have to take care of all of their needs. And unless you've had a kid, that like, that's your first experience with that.
Of course.
So we were probably a lot calmer about it too.
Of course.
And he was younger, so he'd had less experience. He'd had less
trauma,
experience.
Yeah. So they come with a little less, which is, that helps too. I know. The second dog thing to me is always, it's such a fun thing. I feel like to watch because there's like a bonding, there's like they pick because you're like, I don't want to speak about your personal life but you're married, and they like, I also feel like they often come in and it's like, oh, okay, well, this one clearly is more bonded with that one, so I'm going to pick this one. So they also like have their way of like picking their humans, picking their spots, like picking the whole thing. It's such a fun thing to watch. How old is Bourbon now?
So Bourbon, the little one, is 10. So they're both getting up there, and that's not the funnest. That's not the most fun thing to think about. But I've always loved making their lives, like looking for ways to make their lives better and healthier. And again, go back to my husband, I'll be cooking in the kitchen and he's like, dog food, human food, dog food or human food. Like that's, and I'm like, well, honestly, one has salt, one doesn't. So like it's the same food,
That's so funny. Do you make their food?
I don't make all of their food, but I'll make supplementary food, or if I, things like that.
Oh my God. I love that. Yeah, what do they like? What are their,
they love veggies. They will beg for a veggie. A kale stem, there is almost nothing that compares to a kale stem.
Stop it. Really?
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah. Like, when you peel out the kale, like when you're making kale, you take,
Yeah. Are you a vegetarian? You're not.
No.
Okay.
I love vegetables. So there's a lot of them going on, but no, they're like radishes. Like I'm always making salads. So they're always begging for that. Of course, if they smell meat, but like,
I love that.
Yeah. I make celery juice every morning, and they'll come rolling in to beg for that. And then the little one, Bourbon, he loves it. So he'll eat it, and Whiskey will forget every morning that she hates it. So she'll beg for it, take it, and then go like, and just
I feel like we're very similar in that, like humans are very similar in that, like the celery juice is like the thing that it's not flavor wise, like I know how good it is for me, so I will drink it, but like I
Yes.
have that reaction to it. And it's like dogs, they're just like us. I have these funny questions, Marnie, around because I feel like we like, you know, we have these ideas in our heads about, well, first off, what is your dog voice? Because it's one of my favorite things to ask people. Like when you greet them, when you come in the door, do you have a specific voice? And if you don't, that's okay. But if you do,
Oh,
we want to hear it.
yeah. Oh, like how do I speak to them? That's crazy to let people know what that sounds like. That's
You
so.
don't have to.
Oh
This is
no,
an
it's
anxiety-free zone, but like,
no, that I
yes.
love that aspect. I like I think like every dog parent, I have about 400 names for my dogs, right?
Yes.
Like you
Yes.
always have like 100 nicknames for them.
What are,
So
wait, let's hear
so
them.
it's Whiskey Woo and Burby Boo or B Boy Bev. That's B Boy Bev. Whiskey Woo is pretty. She's a little bit more simple. He'll have a bunch, and whenever I call him, I'm always like Burby, Burby. That's and he's waking up right now and staring at me. So yeah, it's not hot. What the voice is just like a high
No,
squealing
are you kidding?
squirrel
Mine's like,
voice.
well, how was your day? How was your day? Tell me about you. Like, what are these voices? Where do
No,
they
that's
come
accurate.
from?
Yeah, no, that's true. That is
Yes,
accurate.
but we all do
Yeah,
it.
yeah, we all do.
Yeah.
We all do. So that's I guess we probably have the same. Sounds like we have the similar dog
Similar
voice.
voices.
Besides the yeah, we
Have
have
you
similar
ever
dog
thought
voice.
about what they would sound like if they could talk? Like what their voices are like?
Yes, actually, definitely Burbs. Um, I've always thought that he would sound like McConaughey, like full. He would just
Wait, I need it. I need it.
he would just
Okay,
like,
go
all
on.
right, all right, all right. He would.
Yeah.
He's a chill, a little less southern, but McConaughey, like a cross
Okay.
between McConaughey and Keanu, somewhere in that world.
Oh, I like
You know
this.
what I'm
That is
saying?
so
A little.
specific and it's really good because we all know we know that. We all go,
Yeah.
"Oh, I know that voice. I know what that is." Oh, whiskey. I mean, oh, bourbon. That's cool. That's cool. That's
Yeah.
cool.
That's
I
him.
literally I say whiskey bourbon so much in my life that I feel like I am now I'm like, wait, which one? Oh, I love that. And that's a good one. What about wait, do you have the other?
Whisk. Whisk. She's a little harder for me. She would be like a Tilda Swinton or like a Sigourney
Oh,
Weaver. She would have like a sense of diction to her voice. Do you know what I mean?
uh-huh.
Like
Yeah.
she would articulate
Over
things.
articulate how she speaks.
I,
And
I, I
yes,
think
yes.
so. I think
Yeah.
so.
Oh, I
Yeah.
love that too. That's so
Yeah.
good. What about like their occupations in the world?
Ooh.
Are these too tough?
Bourbon would be like probably like an aspiring YouTuber,
Oh,
like
for sure. Like an
yeah,
influencer?
yeah, like
Yeah.
an influencer. Not a great one, has maybe, I don't know, 1,100 subscribers, but like mid-level.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely.
So
Yeah,
specific.
it would be something around specific, something around like travel. He'd probably try a
Sure.
couple of different hooks, but I think
Yeah.
travel would be one. He loves a car ride. He loves a suitcase. He loves a plane. He hasn't met a mode of transportation he doesn't love, this guy. So I think
Oh
he would
my
kind
God.
of be focused on that.
Oh, I
He'd
would
also
totally
probably
subscribe to Bourbon's YouTube channel, no question. With that Matthew McConaughey, Keanu Reeves voice and talking about like travel and car rides and whatever, I'd be like, yeah, I just put that on for easy listening.
yeah, that'd
Yeah.
probably be where he'd be at.
Oh my God, I
And then
love this so much.
Whisk. Oh, Whisk would be. Did you have you seen that new Fincher movie, The Killer?
No, I haven't yet. Oh my God, so funny. Someone just sent that and was like, you're gonna love this movie. Somebody literally just sent that to me.
Oh, that's wild. Again,
Yeah,
are like.
that's bizarre. Like that's so crazy. Okay, go on.
So I think Whisk is sort of like, I see her as like the Fassbender character in that, kind of like this really kind of solo assassin who has very
Oof,
specific routines, you know, um,
Marnie,
a little bit of
you've really thought about this and I love it. No, please keep going. Solo
yeah,
assassin
I
for
think so.
sure.
A little bit on the spectrum. Um,
Uh-huh. Yeah.
definitely on a revenge. Something occurs with revenge at some
Hmm.
point, but really just wants to be loved. You know, in the end, I won't get
Wow.
into it because of the film, but really just in the end, just wants to chill out in the sunshine.
That is based on how you described whiskey's origin story, this is 100% believable. Like,
Why do
you
I
should
know this,
write this
Maggie? Why do
script.
I think
Like, I'm not
I just
kidding.
watched the movie. Just watch
But
the
I
movie.
mean, like, with whisk, like the dog version. I want to
So
see it.
good.
I want to
Okay.
see
All right,
Whiskey
Maggie. That will
starring
be my next.
in her own horror film. Not horror. We'll say own. Let's just say revenge story. Of a broken. Well, now I'm getting all into it. Anyway, after this, I'm gonna call you and be like, Marnie, we need to get this idea together and go
Let's
out
do
with it
it. Let's do it.
immediately.
Yeah.
I'm dead
I mean, it's
serious.
time.
Anyway, it is time. And
It is
also,
time.
Bourbon should have his own YouTube channel. Anyway,
You should just
what
have
a
it.
story. You could just
Absolutely.
post Game of Thrones
Content.
photos, content,
Yes.
and it will
Yes.
be the biggest thing on I'm you this is all funny, but I'm actually not kidding. I'm not kidding.
Maggie, I love a project.
It's
And I love hanging
literally
out with you. So
this
let's do it.
let's do it. I mean, honestly, just start the Instagram and we'll just blast it everywhere because like the world needs this anyway. No, I'm actually really into this idea, but that's another conversation for us. Marnie, any other stories or thoughts around how these beings or creatures have healed you, Patrick? Anything in any way that you want to like sort of add in? Not that we
No,
have to, but yeah.
no, one of the things actually that I when we were talking about a little bit earlier that I realized was really big, and people talk about it a lot, but I think it's worth reiterating, is the kind of true unconditional love that occurs, especially when you live in an environment and in a world where we're on camera a lot. We live in Los Angeles. There is a definite understanding of the importance of how you present in the world and how you will then function with it or be accepted or not accepted or all those kinds of things. And I think it's a
Right.
little bit I think it's a little bit heightened given our environment, but everybody feels it. Everybody feels it.
Right.
And these to be with animals, but dogs specifically, because of the way that over the years they have been domesticated, right?
Yeah.
We created them,
Yeah.
and so they have learned over the years to read energies, to understand communication in a way. Like I once heard this was really fascinating. So a chimpanzee, which we're much more genetically connected to, they don't understand pointing, right? They don't understand pointing, but
Fascinating.
dogs understand
They
pointing.
do. Yeah.
Yeah. There's a few things like that where
That have just
they
been
have
learned. Yeah.
they have been domesticated and around humans for so long that in many ways they communicate better than things that are more genetically connected to humans. So that's wild to me, right? Um,
Absolutely.
and one of the things that they really do well is unconditional love.
Oh
And
yeah.
to go back to what I was mentioning earlier is it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if I've brushed my teeth. It doesn't matter if I'm depressed. It doesn't matter if I'm sick. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter anything. It doesn't matter if I'm going to the Oscars. They show up with the same kind
Oh yeah.
of love,
Yeah.
and they have the same needs. They are the great equalizer. They they aren't affected by all of the bullshit that is so affecting to us
Yeah.
all the time.
They're in there. It's like I think of it like I always said like Peanut made me better, or any of my dogs, Tristan, Frank, because when spending time, when sitting with them, petting them, sleeping next to them, whatever the case might be, I am better. I am calm. My heart is open because their
mm,
heart is open. There's almost like this, like you were just talking about what we're so affected by and how much of that is in here. And I
mm-hmm,
feel like they force us to be here, like in our
mm-hmm,
hearts. versus that. And obviously all of this flows together, but when we come from, I think, that space, everything is better. It sometimes just takes a lot to get there. But I feel like when we're with our animals, we drop into it so quickly.
That's a great point. I think that's a really great point.
They're so of that, is exactly what you're talking about, the unconditional
Mm-hmm.
love.
Mm-hmm. And they show up that way every day consistently, no matter what.
No matter what, literally,
yeah.
No matter what. Like it's what a lesson. Anyway, they also get us out of bed. They get us on a walk.
Yes.
They get us outside. They keep us healthy. Like it's really, 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 I mean, everyone, I know we talk about how much we love our pets and, you know, and the fun stories about their personalities and all of that. But at the root of it, it's sort of this really interesting kind of like soul connection, as you were talking about as well, of like that, finding that co-existence, that co-creation, that you have, like they find us, we find each other, and then we learn from each other, and then we're better with each other. I don't know. There's like it's a whole chain reaction of things that I feel like if we were all in that space a little bit more all of the time, the world would just be a much less scary place.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
I agree with you. Absolutely.
And you're all about that,
beautiful.
you yourself, because of even what you do, which again, we'll talk about that on a later episode too. And I want to promote your retreat.
I want you to come on my retreat. That's what I want.
I'm coming. I was
amazing.
like looking at these photos. This was the most beautiful. Marnie just led this retreat in Italy. I know some of what it was. I don't know all of what it was, but it just looked so beautiful and so healing. And the way people like spoke about it after, like, you really moved and changed a lot of people.
I think we all did it collectively.
But you led it. You called, you put the call together, you know?
Thank you. Thank you. Well, there were some major dog lovers at that retreat as well. That was something that I definitely find aligns with our community. There's a heck of a lot of dog love that rolls around. And then also being gone as long as I was, you can hear her, right? She hasn't stopped whining. Oh, no, okay, good. You can't. She hasn't stopped whining. It's like low level.
Yeah.
It's been going on for 20 minutes.
I do that when I can't get in the sun for a while. I get it. I'm literally like, I really do.
That's who I missed. That's who I mean, it's a wild and beautiful feeling. And I'll hear people say, I think I want a dog with the responsibility and all this kind of stuff. And now after this many years with them, I absolutely, I don't think that obviously there's a sense of like responsibility that's respectful and being able to have space and financial means to care for an animal, but you figure it out. Like they've so benefit your life that everything else just gets better as a result. Like I would encourage every single person to get it.
Just do it.
Just do it if you're thinking about it. Go find one.
Yeah.
There's plenty that need homes.
I'm right there. So I've met one.
You have?
Yeah, but I'm in conversation about a weirdo, little weirdo that I randomly met. Yeah. But we'll see. We see.
Okay.
But yes, so it's fun. It's funny actually, because like, even just hearing you say that, because I have been in such of a cycle, I feel like, of like change and grief since Peanut died. Peanut felt like the end of like an era of my life, that I like was grieving all of that with her passing as well, that I've just now kind of settled, and I'm like, yeah, I think I'm open. And it was like, I just like cracked the door, and then it was like, oh, okay, it's here. Like so anyway, I'm like, this could happen very quickly. So we'll see. I'll keep you posted, but
please do.
Marnie, thank you for sharing all of that. And if there's anything else you want to add before we go, but that was so beautiful. You know, I love hearing you talk about like the personality the way that we have to consider them, their language and their needs, that it is not just this one-sided thing. And I love that you watch Cesar Millan to prepare yourself for this experience that was probably nothing like a Cesar Millan episode. But I bet you did learn a lot. Like,
no, I did.
Yeah,
I did.
like,
and I think at the time when he came up onto the scene, there definitely was a need for people to have a different understanding of dogs' needs. And I think that was something that was really, you could take away from it no matter what, is
100%.
listening to them and the whole energy exchange, right?
Yes.
And giving them a sense of safety with, what does he say? Rules, boundaries, limitations. I think that's what he says.
Yes.
Like that.
Yeah.
But giving them a sense, rather than imparting your needs onto them and deciding that they should be showing up or looking a certain way.
Right.
That they are living beings that also need to be respected. For what their needs are. And I thought that was definitely a takeaway for sure.
I love that. I feel like one of the things I learned from watching him too was like how much of it is the work is much on the human. It's not just training the dog, it's training, as you're talking about too. It's the dynamic, it's the relationship, it's the anxiety, it's the chaos, it's the patience, it's all those things. Like, it's not just like, oh, let's train this dog to this thing. It's actually it's a holistic relationship between you and your dog. So it includes you as well. And I loved that he was always so focused on the human, the owner, just as much as he was like,
absolutely,
and the environment. Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely. Because they're not accessories. You know what I mean? That's, I think, one of the things that he really helped to magnify within our culture, is that these are not toys for you to play with and then to dump when they're not acting the way that you want them to act.
Exactly.
And that's a really important. I think that was a really important sort of shift.
Yeah. All right, good. I can't thank you enough. Like, I just think, I don't know. I just think you just get it. You get it, like all the people, you do. And honestly, I just feel like one of the things I love about you is that you're so, and again, we've hung out only a couple of times, but they happen to be like these like crazy, like Taylor Swift, Beyonce.
Right.
Like,
your birthday.
My birthday. Oh my God.
By the way, epic moment.
We had just met at Taylor Swift, and Marnie shows up to my birthday, and I'm having this like karaoke party. Marnie's like, I love karaoke. Yeah, I'll come. And Marnie's like, has this incredible voice. She can pick up a mic and sing anything. And she like jumped right in. You were like brought the energy. That's what you bring, this like energy that is so present and so all about the moment. Like, it's like, let's optimize we're in this moment right now. We are going to optimize every single part of it, whether it's what we're wearing, what we're singing, what we're doing, like everybody's anyway. And I just love you. And I think you're a whole special being. And I will again have you on because I want to talk about the other as well. So meaning what you do. What you do. But thank you for saying yes to coming on and talking about pets.
Thank you for having us. Whiskey, come. Do you want to come say bye? Come on.
Thank you for having us. I love it. It's like, yes, of course.
Thank you for having us. Thank you for having us.
Oh, wait. Hi.
He's the mobile one.
Hi.
Do you want to now? You want to come?
Yeah.
Come on. Yeah, you want to come?
Oh my God, they're so cute, Marnie. Hello, baby.
She had a little wound, so she had a little shave on her face recently, so that's why she doesn't typically have her scar there.
She's so cute.
There we go.
Her
there we go.
And whiskers.
Yeah, that was weird. When she was little, she was like really. She was really beardy, and like her whole face was like a puffball. Yes. Now that she's a senior lady, she's kind of lost some of that fluff, but
she's gorgeous. God, she's gorgeous.
She definitely wants to be a part of this. No, okay.
Yeah, she's like in it now. No.
Are you in it?
She's like, no, yeah. No. Whiskey. Hi, Whiskey. Oh, Whiskey. Oh, is she looking? I don't want to confuse her. Oh my God. She's making out with you now.
Yeah,
hi, Bourbon. Hi, Bourbon. Oh my God, Marnie, this is like the greatest way to end this episode.
Okay, yeah. Okay.
This is perfect.